first barrel or not comes in from a listener in New Zealand.
Kia ora crew, James here from New Zealand with a little barrel or nah for you. The barrel or nah is it good to question your gut instincts? The reason I ask is I did Survival League. At the beginning of the year I lost when Medina had a shocker at pipe. I then did the losers version of Survival League and made it all the way through to finals day. I was one of 6 on finals day. I guessed everything right, except in my first round of guesses, I thought John would get 34.5 as his total heat score. And then I thought, oh nah, maybe he won't do that well. I'll refine it a little bit. And I guessed 32 something. Turns out, if I followed my gut instinct and chose 34.5 as his total score, I would have won the losers round and I'd get a nice custom-made panda and $1,000 US. Instead, somebody else won that and good on them. Huge congrats to them, but it wasn't me.
Questioning your gut instinct.
Good question. Great question. Great barrel or not. And I've had much time to think about this through my life, as my gut instinct is 9 times out of 10 wrong. But here we go. I'm going to say it is not barrel to question your gut instinct, because while I know that my gut instinct is faulty and will lead to poor decision making, at least you're going down on your own ship. If you're going to go down in your own ship. If you question your gut instinct, you choose something else, and exactly as our dear New Zealand listener pointed out, if he would have gone with his gut and been wrong, at least you would have said, my gut, I went with my gut was wrong. When you question your gut, now you're stuck. If you're right, then it's a happy accident. If you're wrong, you should have just gone with your gut, right? I feel that at least your gut is a baseline of if that's what I felt. Wrong or right, that's what I felt. And going down on what you felt, at least you could say I went down on what I felt, not on second guessing.
It's interesting that your kind of most, natural thoughts come from your gut, not your brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's true. Like when you think about gut instinct, it does feel like it's coming from down low and from within, as opposed to from your brain.
I mean,
but
I think in Western history, though, we've really devalued the gut, right? Where I think in a lot of cultures, like in Papua New Guinea and stuff like that, your soul is in your belly. Like all of this is like, I think we have just, we believe in science and all this. So we put the brain as the pinnacle of everything, and everything is secondary to that. But I think gut instinct, you make decisions down there, maybe.
Yeah. And if you want those decisions to be good, you should drinkag1.com/surf for gut health. It is probiotics, prebiotics that'll keep you going. Anyways, I agree with you. Trust your gut. And now I think that is the most, there is some, I don't even know how to define it, but there's some sophisticated workings in your brain that are a culmination of all of your life's learning and experiences that get expressed in that initial response. And it is actually what you were then layering on after that is kind of I don't want to say trauma and things that you learned along the way after that, but they're second guessing the instinct, I think, is problematic, and it's never going to be as well defined as the initial push. You're going to have a secondary instinct, a tertiary instinct, and more that come after that, and there's no way to tease apart which one of those is accurate. So I think trust your gut instinct. The one caveat is, which one is your gut instinct? Because sometimes I will have an emotional response to something, and then the secondary one is actually the gut instinct, So you kind of want to be able to tease apart what's what. Like for James to pick Gabriel Medina at Pipeline was probably his gut instinct.
I mean, but that happened. I don't know that that's a gut instinct more than it is looking at a statistical, looking at the numbers, thinking this guy has never not done good here, coming into the season, like building a analytical reason for. Because your gut would be, for a Pipeline, would be, I mean, if you're going to go gut, would be bad gut would be like a pipeline specialist. good gut would just be, hey, I know that I'm going to burn him quick, but a John John or like Gabe is a great analytical choice that didn't pan out.
So could your gut be influenced? Let's say yesterday morning, if you woke up and you trusted your gut was poisoned yesterday.
Yeah. I didn't do anything yesterday. It was a bad decision-making day.
So is there moments where you shouldn't trust the gut?
I think you should mostly trust your gut when you're drunk. Uh, just kidding. I think your gut when you're drunk is filled with booze and is going to be bad decisions come from that. Don't trust your gut when you're boozed. Don't trust your gut when you are, I don't know,
See,
because
I think the gut supersedes. I think the gut sees through the drunkenness. I sees through the bad oyster. I think that the second guessing comes because of the booze and the bad oyster. But if you actually find the gut instinct, it will still be accurate
how
beneath
many,
those things.
how many times have you thought, I got to write this email? I got to tell this person this or whatever when you're boozed?
I mean, maybe the first few times I got boozed, I thought that was a good idea, but I learned pretty quickly by the age of like 24 that it's not a good idea.
Exactly. It's the worst idea, in fact. But that's your gut telling you, this person's got to hear this right now. So it's
Hmm.
call them up, text them, email, whatever. Like that's your boozed gut. Your boozed gut is not very bright.
I'm sticking with my gut. From this point on, I really feel strongly. I think my gut knows better than I do.
I mean, definitely.
Okay.
Accept your gut boozed.
All right. Stick with it. Barrel or not, wrapping your leash around the tail/fins. This came from listener. P.S. Could also be a kook and curran, as I'm sure I've seen pros do this, but couldn't find any photographic evidence. Work.
Zero barrel, I think, to me, it points to somebody having ADHD.
Mm.
Or sorry, like some compulsive, a more like it's a compulsive disorder thing, because I get that you don't want your leash trailing behind you, but wrapping it tight around the fins, A, you're begging for your rails to get dinged down there. B, you're asking for your leash to get weird and kinky. And don't tell me that don't happen, because it absolutely does happen. I feel the best thing to do is you carry your leash when you're carrying your board. And when you put your board away, you like just throw the leash somewhere out of the way. You don't train your leash to stay in a
Yeah.
nice tight coil.
You definitely don't train your leash. And the other worst case scenario is it gets some sort of a little micro nick in the actual leash itself, which can then lead to an actual snap. So I'm going, and it just looks kooky. I mean, if nothing else, it looks so foppish. It's crazy.
I mean, completely. Surfing should never be that neat and tidy. It's
Right.
exactly foppish. It's right along with the changing mat and the giant water tank and all the like you're getting the things right, except you're not, because surfing is not about that.
The only thing it looks normal on is a wave storm, which is
It's
an
true.
indictment enough,
It's true.
right?
No barrel.
Okay, no barrel. We agree. Okay, final barrel or not. Taking a public political stance. Of course, this is coming off the presidential debate this week, where we've seen a few pro surfers and Taylor Swift herself weighing in.
I'm gonna say this is a two-tiered one. I'm gonna say if you have a massive following, like a massive following, like it doesn't have to be as big as Taylor Swift, but a big following, and you feel strongly, and people are already basically painting you as one or the other, then do as you wish, right? I mean, I think no, or I wouldn't personally, but I understand that if it's like if the momentum is such that people are
You
already,
want to sway the vote?
not that you want to sway the vote, it's just like people are going to be using you
Uh,
uh, on either side. So you might as well make your personal preference clear, right? Where just is what it is. If you don't have a major platform, I have no idea what the impetus is, to be honest. There's a dude who lives uh, not in my neighborhood, but in a neighborhood close by, who has his giant Trump flag waving, right? All fine and good. Cool, man. I get that you like Trump. Do you see any flags in this neighborhood? Do you see any Kamala Harris or Biden flags? Do you see any liberal anything in this neighborhood? Why are you the one who is rubbing your thing? Like, everybody just vote how you vote, do
yeah.
what you want to do. it doesn't need, why does it need to be made public? Is your flag, is your political position going to sway? I never thought about that. Huh? Really? Well, I just never thought about that. Absolutely not. Keep your damn political like opinions to yourself, unless you're a pundit and having to do it for your job, or
Yeah.
have a mega platform that's going to get co-opted one way or the other, and you would prefer just to be in charge of the narrative.
That's kind of how I feel about it too, I think. But even I guess my question is also, or the thing that I am questioning is whether it's even worth doing for the celebrity with the mega platform.
I don't think so. I don't think Taylor Swift is going to make, I highly doubt there is a Swiftie out there who's like, well, you know what? I wasn't gonna, but now I'm gonna. There might be some, and maybe it's an, I mean, she has like millions upon millions of fans. So to say there's would be no percentage of her fan base that maybe wasn't thinking, maybe there's the younger part of her fan base will be like, okay, Taylor said it. Now I've been meaning to do it. Now I actually have to get registered. Now I'm going to vote. Right. Like I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
see influence coming more there in young people registering to vote than somebody who's already registered and was going to vote anyway, thinking, well, I guess that changes this.
The the downside though is, so I guess if you're sincerely want to sway the vote, then you would do it, I guess. But the downside is, as a celebrity or a brand, is that you're going to alienate a certain percentage, and it's close to 50% of your fan base as well, and potentially lose them and hurt your business in the future. And so the return on investment for just making that statement seems um, like a bad decision.
I really hope we're getting through that era a little bit. Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. Do you ever follow him?
Yeah.
He calls himself the king of the Swifties. And was asked, I think he was on Fox or something, asked what he thought of the endorsement. And he said, teach their own. I'm voting the other way. But totally doesn't make me think anything
Okay.
less about Taylor Swift and et cetera, et cetera. Where I was thinking, great. Like, and he went on, I think, to say, and it's stupid if somebody's political opinion changes, if you're friends with somebody and then they, I think that was such a thing during Trump 1.0 of, families would break apart because
Right.
some family member would like Trump and the other ones wouldn't, and it would literally break families apart. Well, how silly. I fully get either if you love Trump or hate Trump, or love Kamala or hate Kamala or whatever, but to have that infect your other life, or let's call it your real life, is insane to me. That, like, put that aside and don't let it paint. Okay, I know this person likes Trump, therefore I know he or she is a racist, he or she is, on down the line. Or like, no, I don't know. Like, who cares? Okay, Trump, cool. You like Trump now, or you don't like Trump now.
Yeah.
It's something I'm not very interested in.
I think so. If you are anti Trump, you are anti for very specific reasons. And so if you see that somebody is pro Trump, you impose that on them. You think, I hate Trump because, let's say, I think he's a racist. So if somebody says I'm pro Trump, you think, well, now that person's racist.
You are a racist. Yeah.
Which the reality is, it's probably rarely ever that. It's that person is pro the candidate for reasons that are completely unrelated to why you hate that candidate. And so it really does, I think, mix messages and whitewash everything in the worst possible way. But when I see somebody who has, like, not the mega platform, but just like you said, somebody in the neighborhood who has the flags up and they're really pro a candidate, I am not bothered that they're associating with the candidate. It's more what you said. I'm bothered that they feel a need to pull out the megaphone and blast their endorsement of that candidate.
To the neighborhood too. Like, this is
Yeah,
not, it's
that's
not like a public street, right? This is not I would get it if this business, is like really saying, hey, we're pro this or pro that, and want everyone passing by to see. This is a small neighborhood. You don't
yeah,
need to shout into your neighbor's window what your political platform is.
exactly. Like, you needing to be known and painted with the brush of that thing is absurd to me. Like, I'm now judging you not because of who the candidate is. I'm judging you because you feel a need to shout that in my face.
It's precisely that. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing for the person to think, to be so insecure that they need to scream and yell what their thing is.
Well, and in contrast to Taylor Swift potentially swaying a vote, that person is actually swaying it the wrong way in my measure, because I am not now more likely to vote for Trump if you have the Trump flag. I'm more likely to think his fans are idiots for
Yeah.
needing to shout in my face from my, my neighbor's lawn. Um, so yeah, I think that there's real diminishing returns on what people are attempting to do when they are stating their political stance.
I think I totally agree with you. And again, hope beyond hope that we're ending this season, because it could only be sustainable for so long, where somebody's political ideology, or it's because it's not even an ideology. Nobody's like thought that super crazy deeply about it, right? Like whoever's voting one side feels, there's a package of things that goes into that. Whoever's voting the other side, there's another package of things. It's not like these people are political scholars who have gone deep into the histories and built a profound and complex understanding of why they're voting the way they're voting. They're voting on their gut 9 times out of 10. And whatever. And so just let people have their guts, for pity's sake, and let's get off it.
You know what else is weird? Is if I see somebody who's flying the flag of, let's say, a candidate who I do support or want to vote for, I don't necessarily feel like they're my brethren. If I see their flag, it's not like I'm like, yeah, they're on my team. They're one of us. Like, I wonder if they're available to have a beer tonight or something. It's like
zero feeling,
zero association at all.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird.
Which I think, I mean, and I guess that's how the Trump thing is a little bit different from other things, because it is, it's like following the band, right? Like Trump is more of a cultural phenomenon than he is a purely political figure. And so when you're flying the flag, typically you're being like, yeah, I like my whiskey neat and or whatever is associated with that. Which I'm not talking about racism right now or those things, but whatever. Like I'm an outlier too. Me and Donald Trump, we're a gunslinging, bad boys in the West, or whatever you're attaching to that feeling. And so maybe there would be more of that if you're MAGA and you see somebody else being MAGA, you're like, yeah, we're the same.
Yep. I like the idea of turning down the intensity on your political views in general. Like
turning off pretty much.
Look,
they don't need to be public.
Have as strong an opinion about your ideology and your candidates and who you side with, your political views. Have as strong of an opinion about that as you do about your music and about what food you like. But you don't have to put a flag out front for the music and the food that you like. You know what I mean? Like feel strongly about it, have opinions about it, think deeply about it, vote that way. But there's no need to get the megaphone out and shout it to your neighbors and your friends and on Facebook and on Instagram and everywhere else.
You're really kind of, though, wanting to make me raise a chicken pot pie flag outside my home.
There's a new business nearby, food business, that is all handheld pies, like meat pies,
like Australian pies.
I mean,
so good.
Australia has them on every corner, right?
But yeah, I know.
And man, I was picking up Thai food last night, and there was this place next door, and I'm like, in addition to Thai food, can I go over there and just get an appetizer meat pie, or should I get a meat pie for tomorrow? I'm gonna want one tomorrow for lunch. They're freaking so good, man.
Meat pies are so good. I wish there was a meat pie down here, North County, San Diego.
I mean, wrap anything in a pastry crust, right?
It's so good. Especially, I mean, anything at all. But as my taste buds rot, wrap something savory in a crust. I will take a meat pie or a chicken pot pie or any kind of savory pie over a sweet pie these days, any day of the week.
With a Ben gravy on the side,
a
little bit of Ben gravy,
smothered in Ben gravy.
It is truly the best.